What's going on, everyone? I wanted to do a video comparing two different chains, kind of the style of the chain, but more of the wear. I always struggle on when I'm thinking about getting a new chain or what chain I want to wear. Which chain will that be? Will it be a round chain or a flat link? I'm always partial to flat links, but I do like round chains as well. But the two chains that we're going to compare are the 3.5mm plain Franco and the 7mm flat curb. These two chains are my favorite chains. The flat curb and the Franco are probably the best made chains. And I just want to do a quick comparison of the two. You know, it's kind of silly to compare something that's 7mm to something that's 3.5, but I noticed when I was wearing the 3.5 and then when I was wearing the 7, they give a similar type of presence, even though they're not the same width. So I just wanted to do a quick video on the two. So let's start with the Franco. Franco from Saints Gold, same thing from Jacoje.com. I have my calipers here. Depending on how you measure it, you're going to get anywhere from 3.8 to 4.1 millimeters. Yeah. So when you measure this, the part of the chain that's usually going to be showing is going to be the V and the Cuban side, just the way it lays. Now, if it rolls, obviously it's going to get more, but you're going to get both sides. So because of that, it's going to give the bigger appearance of the 4mm side. And I like that. But even if it wasn't that side, it's 3.8. That's close enough to 4mm. You're not going to really see a big difference. So this does have a good presence on the chest. It is subtle, but it's unique. So when you see someone wearing a Franco and you don't know anything about chains, you're probably going to see a chain that you've never seen before. Everybody's seen a Figaro or a rope or a flat curb. Not that many people have seen Francos if they're not into chains, so it gives that unique flex. It gives that unique presence that draws people in to look at the chain, especially if it's tucked in. It has a great side neck. And then if you're like me, most of the time my shirt's tucked in, but if it's not, I do like to have the lobster clasp on the side, and the teardrop lobster clasp adds a whole lot of other character to it, and it really catches the eye. But because of the weight of this being 51.1 grams, yes, it's not the widest chain, it's not the 7mm flat curb, but when it lays, it just lays. It lays open, and it's kind of like an anchor, and it just sits there. So because of that, because it's 4mm off the chest as well, it has a good presence. It's not, it's not so small that, like, if it was 3.5mm and just a flat link, the presence would be a lot different. So if you're interested in a 3.5mm round link, or you're going to get plenty of presence, especially if it's a Franco. So now it's the 7mm flat curb. Obviously, this has a lot more presence width-wise, but this one does lay different because it's lighter, so it moves different than that does. This is 38.9 grams. I think the ones on Jacoje.com right now are around the 43 gram range. So obviously more weight is going to lay more, but what you get with this one is more of a shine factor. The 3.5mm diamond cut Franco might shine more, but this one I think is the shiniest chain because it's 7mm. Everywhere you look on it, it's super shiny. There's not a dull part on it. Now this one, again, most of the time my chains are tucked in, But if you want to wear it out, you throw the lobster clasp on there, it catches the eye a little bit. Has a really good side neck. And where you get from this is the presence of the width. As soon as you see how wide it is, it's definitely standing out. This one stands out, like I said, the Franco stands out because the anchor just sits there. It stands 4 millimeters off the chest. It's 4 millimeters wide. You probably hear my dogs over there. And it's a unique chain. Stop. This one stands out, and they stand up 2 completely different ways, but it's really difficult to say one is better than the other or prefer one over the other. And they do 2 completely different things. This one really says I want to wear a chain that has some presence. This one says I have a really nice heavy chain, but it's not the widest. You know, it's very interesting how they're comparable in a way. Now the 7 millimeter measures out, from what I remember, right at 7 millimeters. Yeah, 7.1 on this one. And I'm not going to measure in multiple spots. I have my scale here. Go ahead and measure them or weigh them just to make sure that my weight from memory is right. Yeah, flat curb 38.9. Franco 51.1. So yeah, so it's about a 12 gram difference, but with that 12 gram difference going with a round chain, you really serve yourself up well, because the Franco is so unique. So if you're thinking about getting a chain and you don't know if you want a round chain or a flat chain, I mean, not that you have to go 7 millimeter or 4 millimeter. I think that as far as these chains go, if you went 5.5 millimeter flat curb, it would stand up next to the 4 millimeter, because the 4 millimeter, again, it's round, it's heavier, it just lays there, and it's an anchor. But if you were to get those, maybe presence-wise, they'd be a little more equal. And the other thing that I forgot to mention, now this pendant is not a gold pendant, it's a gold-plated pendant, but this has always been my barometer for how would a pendant look. Now, if you're a pendant person, which I am and I am not, it depends on the time, what I'm doing. This is a very big pendant. If I were to wear one, I'd actually probably stop it here as the maximum, but the 3.5 millimeter Franco can handle a big pendant. And this is actually the factor that made me want to make this video, was the 3.5 millimeter plain Franco, probably with 3.5 millimeter diamond cut, can really take a big pendant. Now, I'm not even going to put the flat curb on, or put the cross on the flat curb, but I do know people like big pendants on flat curbs and Miami Cubans. And if you're going to wear a big pendant on one, it has to be that type of size. And the only reason for that is because I actually might try to put this on there. I don't even know if it'll fit. And the only reason for that is if you have a light pendant or a lighter chain and a really heavy pendant, it's not going to look right. The links are going to get super twisted. And then you have this one, which, again, some people might prefer this, but I know that I prefer a round link if I'm going to wear a pendant. Stop. But, I mean, I guess it's everybody's choice. That's not terrible. I just would prefer to wear it on the Franco if I were to wear anything on it. Now this is an exceptionally heavy pendant. Again, this is stainless steel with gold plating. I got it a long time ago. Now I just use it as a gauge to see, can this pendant hold up for a pendant, and will it look right? But anyway, I don't want this video to go too much longer. These are both fantastic chains, and I'll do some close-ups, and there's going to be some video in natural light, and this will be a much longer video than I usually post, but I just want to try to help people out as much as I can if you're trying to choose between a flat link or a plain Franco or a round link or whatever you're trying to get. And obviously it's crazy because this one appears like it might be more expensive than this one, but this one is more, like 12 grams. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time.